still have a little bit of time.
Hey, welcome to Kent County Levy Court Committee meeting. Scheduled to start at 6:30 p.m. in the Levy Court chambers. So prior to that, we'll have the county administrator describe how those that would like to join us through the phone or WebEx can do so. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. This meeting is being held in person at 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware, in Levy Court Chambers. We also are making it available via the internet through WebEx. Participants can join us by phone or by computer during the meeting. There will be opportunities for public comment for those attending in person or online. When the president opens a public comment period, those attending in person may step forward to one of the two podiums and be recognized. If you're joining us by phone and wish to comment, please press *3, which will raise your electronic hand. Our operator will identify you and bring you into the meeting. Pressing *6 will mute and unmute your line. If you're online, you will see a hand and microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. Please use those at the appropriate times. We ask guests to begin public comments by stating your name and address for the record. The county attorney will administer an oath or affirmation to anyone giving testimony during a public hearing. We ask that public comments relate to the subject matter announced by the president. In addition to public hearings, there are two public comment periods, one at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items and one near the end of the meeting for general comments. This meeting is being recorded and will follow the rules of procedure adopted by the Levy Court, as well as the Mason's Rules of Order. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. It is 6:30 p.m. We have 6 commissioners present. Commissioner Maston is absent. The first item on this evening's committee meeting is Public Works Committee. Commissioner Hertz, turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, I'm turning it over to Diana Gold.
RK&K has submitted a request on our biosolids capacity expansion project for a contract amendment. What we're looking to do is update the hourly rates, increase the compensation amount which would be associated with review of the dryer submittals, increase compensation associated with the 2-year delay in the schedule, and revise the delivery and cost for the revised delivery schedule for the design, with bidding to be completed by January 2025. And our goal is that we would have, on the current schedule, is that the dryers would be done by June 2026. So there's 2 motions there for the commissioners to consider, and if there's any additional questions, I'll be glad to answer.
So you say the dryers aren't going to be done until June 2026?
The entire project with the building and the dryer, and then that includes the commissioning time.
Mr. Scott?
Diane, am I reading this correct, $303,000 for a delay on a project that was approved last year?
This project has been approved some time ago. It's our large project. And the funding is working capital reserves is what's being proposed for it. So what we have is the two years to finish the review of the design that's being done by Andritz. And then when that equipment arrives, so we've got the shop drawings, we've got to make sure all that is done. We've been working on the design of the building that it'll be going in, and we've finished the relocation plans for the utilities. And we'll be meeting with George and Lynch, so that they understand the proposed work scope, and they know how to staff it, and we can get a time when they're going to start it. Currently, the schedule has them starting doing the work in August. I'm hoping they'll start it earlier, but I don't know if how that will impact the schedule. It may not impact the overall schedule, even if George and Lynch starts early. But most certainly, it won't hold anything up.
So the delay that we're paying $75,000 for at the bottom here, what created that? Is that something that we did, or is it just nature of the beast that happened?
I believe
It has to do with the award that we rescinded.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Angel?
Thank you, Commissioner Hertz. Diane, on the contract, under amendment of owner engineer, on the first page of the contract, it says the effective date of this amendment, it's been left blank. When's it supposed to start?
Depending on if we voted on this tonight, we will set the effective date based on when you.
So we're waiting on the vote for this to get that.
Correct.
Okay, because if it's been so long waiting, why is it just now getting to us? That's when
We were waiting for RK&K to present it to us.
I'm sorry?
Part of the delay was waiting for the document from RK&K.
How long did it take to get it?
Andy was working with them, and I'm sorry that the original document that we have with him is from 2019, and then we were working through all the items with the dryer company, and this is just coming to levy court now.
So it took almost 5 years to get this started? To start 2019?
No, the 2019 is the contract. The date at the top is the date of the actual contract we have. We're amending that contract from 2019.
Just seems like an awful long time to get something fixed. Thank you.
So periodically, the schedules are adjusted. So that's part of this would have happened as part of the normal process, if that makes any sense.
I guess to sum it all up, this process is delayed so long because the first company, we waited over a year for them to bond that never bonded.
Correct.
And then we rescinded our contract and had to rebid it and all that. And here we are. Any other questions? Thank you. Show of hands. Show of hands to approve this amendment to the RK&K contract for $75,887, just to move it forward. Thank you. 7 up. Correction, 6 up. Do we have any, at this time, anybody from the public that would like to comment for or against this proposed contract increase? Mark, is there anybody online?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak on this item, please indicate by raising an electronic hand at this time. I see no hands raised, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Turn it back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The Administration Committee, Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I want to make an apology, first of all, because I didn't think we gave him money last year. And we did. We gave him $5,000. And I asked for it to come out of Policy 30. Lauren wasn't here when we did the original discussion on this when I was talking to you all about it. And so I wanted it back on the agenda because it's the money I'm asking for that was to help them was not the community grant funding. It was the Policy 30 funding, which was a separate funding just for the commissioners to help the community. And now that's been entwined now with a regular grant process, which I still don't agree with. So I don't want to dig up an old dog and rebury it, but at the same time, I just want to say we still need to help where we can. And if there's any inkling to move it out of the Policy 30, which I was told their money's still set aside for that, so be it. But if not, I'm fine with it too. At least we tried. Anybody else with the same feelings? Open for discussion.
I'll go first, Commissioner Angel, if you're okay with it. You know, we just gave them money last November. I think you're setting quite a precedence by turning around doing it again. I think, you know, there's a lot of churches and what they could use additional funding and additional help. Not saying it's a horrible thing that's being attempted, but I think that giving money 6 months apart is kind of setting a precedence that you're going to have a lot of people coming back wanting to know where their second half of their funding is. That's just my one opinion.
I agree with that, what you just said, Commissioner. At the same time, though, I want to say that the original allotment that they asked for was for $15,000, and we gave them $5,000. They really could have used more money back then, but they were willing to take what they could to get through the winter to help them. So knowing that money was coming, that's another reason why I wanted it back on. Because, like I said, this is not the community grant process. This is the Policy 30 process, the one that was for commissioners to help the community. So, anyway, I've already said it. I've said it enough. Anybody else? Okay. Then I see nobody interested in moving it forth. I take it. You want to show of hands, move it forth? Seeing none? But me? Okay, you win. Thank you. Any public comments on this item? Any public comments? Anybody online, Mark?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak on this item, please indicate by raising an electronic hand at this time. I see no hands for public comment online, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. That concludes the committee meetings for this evening. They were scheduled for 6:30. The business meeting is advertised to start at 7 p.m. So we will have a delay prior to starting the business meeting. We're calling it to order. So we will recess until 7 p.m. Mr. Hall. We'll recess to the caucus room, and we will be back at 5 minutes to 7 for executive session. We'll now call the business meeting to order. I asked Commissioner Angel for the invocation, Commissioner Hertz for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence for troops and first responders, Commissioner Sweeney. All rise, please.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, support as we begin this meeting. Continue to remind us that we are all here today to accomplish and pursue the truth of greater glory to you and our service to our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have given their lives in the line of duty. Please remember this one individual over the last week who lost his life in the line of duty, and keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. Sergeant Floyd Miles from the Charles City County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. Thank you.
Commissioner Sweeney, Ms. Tanaka, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel,
Present.
Mr. Hall,
Present.
Mr. Hertz,
Here.
Mrs. Maston, absent, Mr. Scott,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Mr. Pepper,
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Need a motion on adoption of this evening's agenda.
Mr. President, make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Angel to approve the agenda for this evening. Any questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call again, please?
Mr. Angel,
Yes.
Mr. Hall,
Yes.
Mr. Hertz,
Yes.
Mrs. Maston, absent, Mr. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney,
Yes.
Mr. Pepper,
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. This evening's agenda has been adopted. At this point, we reserve time on the agenda for anything, any public comments that are not covered under a public hearing on this evening's agenda. So this is limited to this evening's agenda. So if you have any public comments, either in the room or online, now's the time. Mark, anyone?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to make public comments at this time, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. I see no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll move on to the agenda. At this time, we'll open the public hearings. The first one falls under Commissioner Sweeney, ordinance LC 24-17. Commissioner Sweeney.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Shepherd, do you want to make any comments on this? Okay, this is a discussion we had in a workshop, and it's just trying to right-size our fee structure for use and to eliminate some of the confusion. So I move to approve ordinance LC 24-17, an ordinance amending the code of Kent County, State of Delaware, Volume 1, Chapter 128, Part 2, Article 11, Section 128 through 128-48 by deleting text shown with a strike-through line and inserting in lieu thereof the underlined text of the document.
And this is a public hearing. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing on ordinance LC 24-17 and ask anyone who may be in favor of this ordinance to please come forward. Anyone in favor? Anyone online or on phone?
If there's anyone joining us online that would like to speak in favor of this ordinance, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. I see no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to ordinance LC 24-17? Anyone opposed? Mark?
If you're joining us online and would like to speak in opposition to ordinance LC 2417, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Any commissioners have any questions for a closed public comment? If not, at this time, I'll close the public hearing on ordinance LC 24-17 and turn it back to Commissioner Sweeney.
Thank you, sir. My motion stands. Motion to approve ordinance LC 24-17, fees, fee schedule, fees enumerated under the Department of Community Services.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney to approve ordinance LC 24-17, second by Commissioner Scott. Any commissioner questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reasons stated by Commissioner Sweeney.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston, absent. Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, all reasons stated, and no public opposition.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, all reasons stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 24-17 has been approved by Levy Court. Move on to the next ordinance, LC 24-11, damage to sewer systems. Commissioner Hertz.
Yeah, this is a proposal for revisions to Chapter 180 sanitary standards, damage to sewer systems. You got any comments, Diana? Okay, we discussed this in workshop. Open it up for public comment.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing on ordinance LC 24-11. And I ask anyone in the audience who may be in favor of this to please come forward. Anyone online?
If you're joining us online and would like to speak in favor of ordinance LC 2411, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. No hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to ordinance LC 24-11, damage to sewer systems? Mark?
So similarly, if you're online and would like to speak in opposition to LC 2411, please indicate by raising your electronic hand. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions or comments prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, turn it over to Commissioner Hertz for a motion.
I make a motion to propose ordinance LC 24-11, revisions to Chapter 180 sanitary standards, damage to sewer systems.
Second motion.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Angel. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reasons stated by Commissioner Hertz, as well as the Sewer Advisory Board voted to recommend this back on May 1st. Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston, absent. Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, reasons stated.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, all reasons stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 24-11 has been approved by Levy Court. Next item on the agenda, again under Commissioner Hertz, is ordinance LC 24-12.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is ordinance to replacing Chapter 128 fees table, 128 1-1 Public Works fee to schedule and replacing it with a new table, 128 1-1. You have anything to say about it, Diana?
I'll keep it quick, but during the last ordinance, Mr. Anger mentioned the Sewer Advisory Board. This was reviewed by the Sewer Advisory Board for the fee increases and was recommended for approval on March 3rd of 2024. Just wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you. Do any commissioners have any comments? Turn back to you, Mr. President, for public comment.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on ordinance LC 24-12 and ask anyone who may be in favor of this to please come forward. Anyone in favor? Mark?
Those online that would like to speak in favor of LC 24-12, please indicate by raising electronic hand. No hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. At this time, anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to ordinance LC 24-12? Anyone opposed? Please come forward. Mark?
Similarly, if you'd like to speak in opposition to LC 24-12, please indicate by raising electronic hand. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. At this time, any commissioners have any comments or questions before I close the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, turn the ordinance LC 24-12 back to Commissioner Hertz.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance LC 24-12, an ordinance replacing Chapter 128 fees table 128-1-1 Public Works Fee Schedule and replacing it with a new table 128-1-1.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Scott to approve ordinance LC 24-12. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, reasons stated by, Commissioner Hertz and Ms. Galt.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes, reason stated.
Mrs. Maston, absent. Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, all reasons stated.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 24-12 has been approved by Levy Court. Next ordinance, LC 24-16, falls under Commissioner Hall. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ordinance LC 24-16 amends the Code of Kent County, State of Delaware, Volume 1, Chapter 191, Taxation, Article 1, Disabled Owner and Senior Citizen Exemption, Section 191-9, Exemption Limit, by deleting text shown with a strike-through line and inserting in lieu thereof the underlined text. And wanted to ask Susan Durham if she wanted to come down and make any comments about this. Any questions? All right, back to you, Mr. President.
All right, this is also a public hearing, and I'll ask, this time we'll open the public hearing and ask anyone in favor of ordinance LC 24-16 to please come forward and offer testimony. Mark.
For those online, if you'd like to speak in favor of LC 24-16, please indicate by raising electronic hand. No hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed to ordinance LC 24-16, please come forward. See no one. Mark?
For those online that would like to speak in opposition to LC 24-16, please indicate by raising electronic hand. Still no hands raised, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any comments or questions prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll turn ordinance LC 24-16 back to Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve ordinance LC 24-16, amending the Code of Kent County, State of Delaware, Volume 1, Chapter 191, Taxation, Article 1, Disabled Owner and Senior Citizen Exemption, Section 191-9, Exemption Limit, by deleting text shown with a strike-through line and inserting in lieu thereof the underlined text.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Hall to approve ordinance LC 24-16 and seconded by Commissioner Scott and Commissioner Angel. Any questions on the motion? See none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, for reasons stated.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yeah, yes, reason stated.
Mrs. Maston, absent. Mr. Scott?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes, reason stated.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes, reason stated, and it's bringing our code up to today's time. So, yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals ordinance LC 24-16 has been approved by Levy Court. This time I'll close the public hearings. There's no old business to new business. Commissioner Hertz, you have the first one.
Okay, new business, biosolids capacity expansion, RK&K, service contract number 7. I move to amend the agreement with RK&K as submitted, interesting the contract amount to $303,626 and accepting rate schedule and project schedule. Funding is working capital reserves. Move to authorize the president of Levy Court to sign the contract amendment subject to the county attorney's concurrence.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, give me a roll call, please, Mr. Knapp.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston, absent. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Levy Court passed a motion. So next item, Commissioner Angel, I guess we took that off because we didn't move it forward. Second item is removed from the agenda. That's the end of our potential action items from the committee meeting. The next item is an introduction of Resolution 4067. Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. Introduction of Resolution 4067, Sewer Assessment Rolls, for public hearing on Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. That's introduction only. Okay. And we've already completed the executive session scheduled for this evening. Any informational items, commissioners? Any informational items? Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past week, I was able to, after waiting a few years, the Corrugated Box Company had their grand opening and ribbon cutting, and oh my gosh, the building is as big as it is. Wait till you see the inside if you ever get a chance to go in and take a tour. It was amazing, and the amount of boxes and what they produce. They got a great group of people there. Linda Barkowski and Dave Hugg were also part of the discussion of what working great with the company. So it was just a great place to be on a Friday morning. Thank you.
Any other commissioner information items?
Yeah, last week I didn't attend the meeting, but I got the pleasure of staying in a hotel in Georgetown, Delaware, in incorporated Georgetown, Delaware. And when I got my bill, I had a 3% Sussex County charge on my hotel bill. In incorporated Georgetown, Delaware, just FYI.
Commissioner Hertz, just out of curiosity, did the $3.50 cause you to look for a second hotel?
It was like $3.28 a night. It hurt me a little bit. I almost didn't stay.
Any other informational items? I spent the weekend at Dover Downs. This is the first Good Guys car show that they've had, sponsored by Grundy Insurance. And from what I saw, it was a great success. Friday, they had quite a few cars. Saturday, there was right around 2,800 cars there. And my guesstimation was probably at least 10,000 spectators. The parking lot was fairly full on Saturday. And it's a great success. What I understand, they have a contract for 2 more years, so next couple of years, we'll hopefully have 2 more successful car shows and make it successful enough that they want to keep this event here. So it was a great event, and everybody seemed to have a good time. I saw a lot of local people. I saw a lot of out-of-state tags, which tickles me. So any other information items? Any public comments? Public comments? Commissioner comments? Any commissioner comments?
Just, are we having leadership tomorrow? Oh, that's right. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other commissioner comments?
Appreciate the gentleman from the fire service showing up this evening. Appreciate you guys being here. Also, in Houston, we don't have 10,000 or 3,000 cars, but they got a car show done by Southern Delaware Street Ride Association, March 22nd, and it's been growing. They get about 125 or 150 cars, but a lot of people. I think Paul went down with me last year.
Mr. Angel?
Thank you, and I believe Father's Day is this weekend, and those who are fathers and family, hope they have a great weekend and with their families and enjoy life.
Amen. Anybody else? Anybody else? Need a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. President.
Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Scott. All in favor, say aye. Anybody want to stay? We are adjourned.